Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. We're glad to have you here. It's Friday. We must all be in a good mood, right? Yeah, maybe it's a little early to be in that good of a mood. But I bet by the time 9 a.m. rolls around, you're going to be in a good mood. We're glad to have you here. Fridays are always exciting days around here because on the Wake Up America show, we call it Freedom Family Friday. My lovely, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie Peterson, joining us here in studio. What's up? How you doing there, cutie?
I'm doing great.
Nice to see you.
The first day of fall tomorrow.
I know. So the equinox, the autumnal equinox.
Confusing. Apparently, it can either be today or tomorrow, depending on the equinox.
Yes. But tomorrow for this year is the first official autumnal equinox. I really like that word, autumnal. Autumnal.
We should call it autumn rather than fall.
Yesterday I shared a meme that said after the first leaf falls, and then it shows the women's prayer team, and they're all like dressed up in like, their fall outfits with like Ugg boots.
Yes, I saw that.
They got their pumpkin spice and everything ready to go.
I'm just not a fall girl.
So what do you don't drink pumpkin spice lattes? Or,
no.
Oh, okay. Good.
No.
See, that's why I got a good one.
I like smoothies. Nice cold smoothies.
All right, I'm going to refrain from making that joke here. Too early in the morning for that. Glad to have you here on the Wake Up America show. We've got some great content for you today. Joe Biden fumbling and bumbling as usual in a meeting with the president of Brazil yesterday. Shaking hands with invisible people and walking off the stage in general, sounding like a cranky old man who's too old to be president of the United States. We'll talk about that. We'll play those clips. And we'll have an awesome start of the show today. After that, Trevor Noah's transgender struggle session in a long clip. Trevor Noah interviewed Veronica Ivy, a transgender woman, which means a biological man, sat down and had what we like to call a struggle session around these parts of Trevor Noah, who looked visibly uncomfortable with many of the questions that he had to ask because, of course, you got to walk on eggshells when you talk to the woke about what it means to be a man or a woman these days. And it actually spurred a really interesting conversation with my wife and I on the way to the studio this morning, where we started talking about what's the difference between a truth and facts.
Oh my goodness, I'm just getting so much in my head.
I
feel like I was just vomiting all my thoughts.
Well, we were talking about what's the difference between truth and facts.
Yes.
And in that discussion, we started going down the rabbit hole of what we call the matrix. Then what is the difference of the matrix between the matrix and in the red pill and the blue pill, because you've kind of forgotten the difference there.
Yeah, we're gonna rewatch The Matrix this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna rewatch The Matrix this weekend on Sunday, so we can kind of get Steffi up to date with what the difference is between a red pill and a blue pill. So it should be a great show today. And we've got some great guests at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk to Sarah Higdon is actually going to come in, and she's going to react to that.
Oh, she's the one I really trust.
Yes.
In terms of the transgender movement.
Yeah, Sarah Higdon's going to come in, and she's going to talk to us this morning about she's going to react to that video. And Sarah Higdon is a transsexual.
Yes.
And she has a really strong opinion about that struggle session that Trevor Noah was engaged in with the Veronica Ivy character. And it was all centered around women in men's sports.
Really liked her opinion in the video that we watched that she made.
Sarah Higdon, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So Sarah Higdon, she's transsexual, but she's not woke. Right. Yeah. So
very much rooted in reality.
Yeah. We're going to talk. Exactly. We're going to talk to her about what is real. What is it that really makes, what is a woman? We'll ask her that question. And that should be a great segment. So transsexual, Catholic, veteran, libertarian. She's going to join us.
A unicorn.
Yeah, 7. She's exactly very rare, very rare. She's going to join us this morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. You don't want to miss that, so make sure that you come back if you've got to do it. So, at 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to speak to Jamie Marie Pope.
Never seen her face to face before in my life, or heard her voice.
What do you mean?
On like a video chat, like I've never done that with her.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Jamie Marie Pope, she's running for the House of Representatives in Louisiana. And so she was an original member of the Cantina crew, and which is like the fans of the Wake Up America show, and was a supporter, I think, of my Senate campaign. And I reached out to her last night. I was like, you know what, Jamie, surprise. Why don't you come on the show? Because her primary is coming up in October. So now's the perfect time to talk to her. She's definitely one of us, and I'm excited to introduce her to all the new people who are watching this morning.
She's grown so much. I'm
Mhm.
really, really proud of her.
Yep. This morning we'll talk to Jamie Marie Pope at 8 o'clock a.m. and we'll have a good time. You guys will get introduced to one of our good friends at 8 a.m. this morning. We're going to talk about why modern art sucks. We're going to talk about the question of should you lend money to your family? That's a good one. Yes, yes. That's a good question.
Coffee.
Right. We're going to talk about that. Whether or not would you lend money to a family member? It's a good question. Camellia is over there on the stream freaking out. What the hell? No one tell me anything, damn it. Jamie Marie Pope.
Jane's your best friend, so she should have told you.
Actually, I told Jamie not to tell her. Where's my evil laugh button?
Keep secrets. That's really good.
Well, it was only for a day, so
A trustworthy girl.
exactly. So we're gonna have Jamie Marie Pope this morning at 8 a.m. and we're looking forward to talking to her. And we'll hear from Jamie Marie Pope at 8 a.m. So if you want to have your voice heard on the show today, don't spam the chat with a bunch of crap. Send us a text at 573-319-1586. You can have your voice heard on the show at 573-319-1586. But if you drop spam in the chat, like whoever that guy was that just said, like, wake up, you dumb, you dumb, then we're just gonna mute you for this live stream like we do. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. So if you wanna have your voice heard on the show, don't spam the chat. Just send us a text and we'll read your text. We'll read your text on air at 573-319-1586. Again, that's 573-319-1586. We got a great show for you today. Let's go ahead and get her started and head on over to our scene. Our we call it Twitter weirdness is what it is, right? Yeah, we're not going to do the struggle session thing first, but let's go to Joe Biden talking about how they beat Big Pharma. I thought it starts small and then we work our way up from there. Listen.
We finally beat Big Pharma. I've been fighting it since I've been a freshman.
What was that?
We finally beat Big Pharma. I've been fighting it since I've been a freshman.
What the heck?
What is that?
Finally beat Big Pharma. I've been fighting it since I've been a freshman.
Oh no.
We finally beat Big Pharma.
They finally beat Big Pharma, and I've been fighting it since I was a.
Got a stutter going on?
Well, he did always have a stutter, but I mean.
Did he?
Yeah,
Even
he
as
did.
a younger person.
When he was younger, he did.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
So that might be what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So Joe Biden was actually, he beat it. But now that he's, getting pretty darn old, it sounds like it's coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
Not how you really want your commander in chief to sound.
I've been fighting it since I've been a freshman.
Reminds me of this clip,
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
What's that word?
I was going to excuse me.
What's he trying to say?
I have see. That's the thing is we have no idea what he's trying to say.
He knew what he was saying.
America. Oh, one more time. America
is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
Is that one single word? Because
he said something about a foot.
It sounds like a lot of words. But you got to admit, it's a lot better than this.
Look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there with her, like a little lady with her legs crossed.
He's speaking very clearly in that sense.
Yes.
He knows what he's saying.
When he's talking sexually to young ladies, look at her. She looks like she's 17 years old, sitting there with her legs crossed, like...
That's right.
Kind of gross. Kind of weird. Yeah. That's our president right there. That's my president. And in talking about the immigration system, here's what else he had to say.
For decades, immigration reform has been a bipartisan in this country. Unfortunately,
bipartisan?
The mega Republican congressman of my predecessor spent 4 years gutting the immigration system under my predecessor. They continue to undermine our border security today, blocking bipartisan reform. For decades, immigration reform has been a bipartisan in this country. Unfortunately, the mega Republican congressman of my predecessor spent 4 years gutting the immigration system under my predecessor.
I don't know anything he just said.
It's really hard to understand what the hell he's saying there. That's
salad.
Yeah, it's a word salad. So that's our president of the United States right there. And we're not the only people who think this. Take a listen.
I think he's too old to be president right now. Like, he doesn't know what's going on right now.
I see him diminishing as far as his energy in the public life. I mean, it's like he had to drink a Monster drink or something just to stay awake. You know what I mean? Like, he's really just very tired, and the job is arduous. So, I mean, you need someone with a little more energy level. I think that will put him
Yes,
down.
exactly.
I think he needs to be in front of voters to show that he's not the sort of doddering old man that the Republicans are trying to make him out to be.
I think he's too old to be president right now. Like, he doesn't know what's going on right now.
Robbie over there on the chat says, I could eat a typewriter and poop a more coherent sentence.
It's really funny. Do you have an opinion on this? I believe yesterday on the show you were talking about age limits for running for office. Don't know if I exactly agree with age limits per se, but I do agree with competency tests. Because, like your dad, for example, he just turned 81. He's very competent, very active. He's got his wits about him. So it's like, should we ban someone like your dad from running for office?
Well, see, that's a good question. So if we aren't going to be banning people who are like 80 years of age and older from running for office, then probably there does need to be some kind of a competency test. It's like, it's kind of like when it comes to senior citizens who are out on the road driving around and they get into these accidents and stuff. Were you in the parking lot with me in Hy-Vee that one day when I almost got run over by that older person, that senior citizen?
I think so.
They just kept driving backwards. It's like, yo, dude, so what are you doing? Like, pay.
Not Cam.
Yeah, it wasn't even just not even that they didn't have a backup camera. It's just that they didn't even look. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I'm the only person in the world. No one else exists but me. It's kind of like.
I mean, we were reading about how your brain literally starts shrinking, like after the age of 30 or 40? Like our brain is getting worse and worse as the years are going on. So it's true.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to watch the president in full public views. And pretty wild. You can text the show today. Let us know what's on your mind at 573. If you've got something going on, show us your competency at 573-319-1586. Good morning. We're glad to have you here watching the Wake Up America show. Over 1,100 people watching us live. Hell yes.
That's going to be the biggest show ever?
Stephanie, it's been like the biggest show every day for like the last week. It's been so exciting to see the growth.
I can't even believe it.
Last week you were on the show and it was a big numbers. We were so excited because it had just began. And then like this entire week, Rumble has featured us on the front page of their website. And it's just it's transformational, the difference.
It truly is. Especially for our family. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were so worried about our income. And now it's like we're starting to actually have hope again. And
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And if you want to support the Wake Up America show, you can do so today by visiting ap4libertyshop.com. Get yourself this awesome government shirt. So a lot of people they hate to dress up for Halloween because they have to think of a costume or do something like that, right? But what we recommend is that you visit ap4libertyshop.com and get yourself a government is scary shirt. A government scary shirt over at ap4libertyshop.com is a great, very inexpensive way to get an awesome Halloween costume. So
Halloween merchandise too.
Yes.
Grim Reaper.
Right. No Lives Matter, and it's got Michael Myers from Halloween on it. So
cryptocurrency.
Yes, cryptocurrency. That's a good one. Yeah, you posted a good joke about that yesterday. So if you'd like to get an awesome Halloween costume for yourself that doesn't cost a lot of money, get yourself a Government is Scary shirt or a No Lives Matter shirt, Michael Myers shirt over at ap4libertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. And you help us to support the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. That's what we're all about, aren't we, Steffi?
That's right.
That's right. We love freedom. All right, let's go ahead and start the reaction to this, just what we're calling a struggle session this morning. This is a video of Trevor Noah, who is interviewing a transgender athlete by the name of Veronica Ivy. And he's talking about the questions related to transgender biological men in women's sports. Take a look and listen.
This issue, people like to say that it's a complicated issue, and I don't actually think it is. I think it's very simple. It all boils down to, do you actually think that trans women and intersex women are real women and are really female or not? And if you do, it's very simple. Just stop policing who counts as a real woman, because this has had history of racism built into it over the years. It's not an accident.
Pause. This has had a history of racism built into it over these years.
Racist against transgender people. I don't know.
Stephanie asking the real questions here.
The term would be, I don't know.
No. No, it's none of those things, right? Like trying to define what a woman is a biological question. It has absolutely nothing to do with the history of oppression in the United States, unless you're talking about homophobia, which is perhaps what we're talking about here, because what we're really talking about is if are homosexuals, right? We're talking about gays and lesbians and bisexuals, and everything else is just
So you're putting those people in with transgender people, you mean?
spicy straights. I mean, it's a fetish, right? If it's not a sexuality, then it's a fetish. It has nothing to do with racism, that's for sure. So we can eliminate the racism category.
Sexual orientation is different than gender identity.
They say,
Yeah.
but just like you were reading in the dictionary yesterday, remember when you came to me and this became a huge discussion? The dictionary definition of
Do you want me to read it?
no, just explain to the audience why why this huge discussion got sparked about the difference between sex and gender.
It's because my whole life when I grew up, I mean, I never had any transgender people at my school. I was born in 1988, so it's like kids were barely even coming out as gay when I was in school. So this all is very, new for me to learn about. And so yesterday I was looking up the definition of sex and then gender, because I hear now in society that they're two different things. They have different meanings. So sex apparently refers to your chromosomes, your biology, your sex organs. So that's what sex is. Whereas gender refers to social norms, your expression of your sex.
Mm-hmm. So so here's the thing, Stephanie. I want to continue this conversation.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick 2-minute break because they're saying that your microphone's breaking up a little bit. We're just going to swap your microphones out, and we'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the 4 olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have "Glad You Came Out" and "I'm so happy that you're queer" in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hayford doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Come back. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching or listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Thanks for being patient while we work our way through that commercial break. Steffi P still joining us in studio.
Can you hear me good?
Hopefully things are fine. Maybe just grab the microphone off of your chest there, because I think we're struggling with trying to find a location for it.
This guy, a spatula with a microphone on the end.
Like that. There you go.
This guy.
Yeah.
I need like a little stick.
Yes. Thank you very much to the 1,700 people who are joining us in studio right now. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully the microphone level will be a little better.
To hear me, I have a lot to say.
Yes, so we've got a new microphone in there. If it's still giving us a little bit of trouble, just let us know. We're a 2-person crew here on the Wake Up America show, but hopefully with the bigger numbers we are going to grow, we'll be able to afford to have like professionals come in here and help us, because as you can see, we're semi-pros on the Wake Up America show. Just let us know. If the show sounds good, you can text us at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. One listener texted in this morning, says that Rumble stock is on sale. Support free speech. Buy, buy, buy. Yes, I actually am.
Stock goes on sale?
No. No, it does not go on sale, quote unquote. It's cheap right now, so it's a good. You get
my ears to perk up when I hear about a sale or a
it's
discount.
not, it's just yes. So when they say it's on sale, it's not like with AP for Liberty Shopping we offer like a 10% discount. It's just that it's inexpensive at this moment. So yeah.
Financial planner, so that's why I don't know these things.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, we're glad to have you here, and don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear from you today on what your thoughts are. Again, you can text the show anytime at 573-319-1586. Again, text the show at 573-319-1586. So, Stephanie, we were talking about the difference between facts and truth in this struggle session between Trevor Noah and this transgender woman, or a biological man. And you were talking about how you were like looking at the definition of gender versus sex.
Yes.
And how that has changed. But what I was trying to explain to you is that it used to be interchangeable.
Yeah, I used to think they were one and the same.
Right. They are one and the same. It's just that the dictionary definitions are changing to suit an agenda. And if you don't believe that, well, then look at how the Merriam-Webster dictionary has changed the definition of anti-vaxxer, for example.
You and I are anti-vaxxers, apparently.
We are apparently anti-vaxxers, because it used to be that if you were an anti-vaxxer, that definition was left for people who had a label, who were labeling themselves anti-vaxxer because they were opposed to all vaccines. They didn't believe in the concept of vaccines, or for whatever reason. But now the definition of anti-vaxxer in the dictionary is people who are opposed to mandatory vaccines. So even if you're pro-vaccine but anti-mandates, you're an anti-vaxxer. And so this has led us to this discussion about the difference between what are facts and what are truth. So in this struggle session with Trevor Noah, let's play another couple minutes of it, and then we'll get into this discussion about the difference between facts and truth. And Sarah Higdon's going to join us here in a little less than 10 minutes. Take a look.
That the intersex athletes who get singled out are women of color from the global south, because who gets singled out for scrutiny is based on white women's conceptions of femininity. And that's being weaponized against trans people too. So it's a fear of protecting the fragile, weak, cis white woman from the rest of us.
So we were saying last night, isn't she a cis white woman now?
Isn't, if she says that she is a biological female, she is a literal woman, then she is, right? So she's a hypocrite, but she's not a she, she's a he.
What you said, which I appreciate. So let's try to break them down. One thing that confuses me personally is it seems like we have discussions about who should participate in which category and how. You know, on the face of it, it seems simple, as you say. You know, if somebody identifies as a woman, if they're transgender, they can compete against women who were born biologically, and then if not, then not. But then there are many who would argue who are not transphobes. There are many who born biologically women who will say, but you have an unnatural advantage over me, and that makes the sport unfair. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, there's lots of ways you can respond to that. So the first is the very language of you were born and I'm not biological somehow, like I don't think I'm a cyborg. So like this idea that like, oh, you're not a biological woman. Well, I am a woman, that's a fact. I am female, so all my identity records, my racing license, my medical records all say female, right? And I'm pretty sure
Pause right there.
Right, so
Right.
that's the facts that she's claiming.
So right there, yes. So what she's talking about right there is the difference of, hold on, facts and truth. right? So she's talking about here, what she is discussing is the difference between facts and the difference between truths.
And so she's basically saying, because my government documents say I am a female, that makes it fact and truth to her.
Yes, to her.
Yes.
So,
which is why it is so confusing in our society, because we equate, the woke people mostly, we equate government with truth.
Right. And we equate facts with truth,
Yes.
for example. So when we say, oh, something is a fact, well, then that's truth. The fact that she is stating there, the fact that she's saying is that her driver's license says female, right? That's a fact.
So why would they give her something that's not true, right?
Right, exactly. So here's the thing. If she's running on a government definition of things, if there is a fact, that means that it is a truth. It is a fact that the government has put a female on her plate.
Yes.
On her license, her driver's
birth
license.
certificate, racing license, all of it.
But
yes.
but that fact does not make it a truth that she is a biological female.
Right.
He's a man, baby.
I mean, you can't deny the realistic past that she was born a male at one point in time. A doctor announced to her family, it's a boy.
Correct. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about that with our friend Sarah Higdon. Sarah Higdon's going to join us here in a little bit less, 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Sarah Higdon. She's a Catholic, transgender, military veteran, or transsexual, she calls herself.
Yes, transsexual.
We'll talk to her about that when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Donald Trump and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Halloween is coming. The festival of Samhain approaches, and your lazy butt doesn't have a Halloween costume yet? How can you pledge allegiance to the Dark Lord this year and possibly offend everyone at the same time? Visit the AP for Liberty shop and get your shirt today. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. So grab your government is scary tee and tell everyone at the party that you're here to help. Other great seasonal items are available as well, so don't miss out. Then visit AP for Liberty Shop today. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every $1 we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's revolutionary roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's patriotic perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks, just pure patriotic pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. We're glad to have you here. It's Friday, so I imagine we're all in a good mood today. We're glad to have you here. We got lots of good reasons to be happy, and one of those, of course, is sitting right next to me, my smoking hot, red-headed libertarian wife, Stephanie Peterson, here today on Freedom Family Friday. Everybody's happy to see Steffi. Such a pretty smile. Glad to have you here today on Freedom Family Friday. She comes in every Friday, so if you like Stephanie and you want to see her again, just make sure that you always join us on Fridays, but I always recommend that you just watch the show every day, Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. The Wake Up America show streams live to you. It's a great way to start your day, as well as a cup of our own Founding Flavors coffee. But if you haven't already, make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel that you're watching us on right now. We're grateful for Rumble for featuring us today and for giving us a platform to spread the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty. If you love free speech and you love economic freedom, well, you're in the right place. So make sure you join us every Monday through Friday, again, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time, here on the Wake Up America show. We were just playing the clip of Trevor Noah. I guess we should use the term comedian, but I would use that lightly. Sitting down with what we like to call a struggle session with a transgender sports or athlete and activist who's claiming that because there's an F on their license, that means that they're a biological female. So
they can compete with other women in sports.
Exactly. So that's a big question that we've talked about on the show before. And I know that we've probably spoken to our next guest about it before, but you know what? Yeah. This is news, and so it's news we can use. And you never know when people's opinions might change. Joining us now for her next appearance on the show is Sarah Higdon. She is a transsexual herself, and she's also a Catholic and a military veteran and a good libertarian. Nice to see you, Sarah. Good morning.
Yeah, it's always good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you responded to that video. You did your own React video to that, which people can view on your YouTube channel, Sarah.
I loved your React video.
Yeah, it was great.
That's so much.
It was very good. But the first thing that you say in this is you sort of respond. This Veronica Ivy character says that they are a biological woman. Do you agree?
No, she's I don't know what she's going by these days, but Veronica Ivy, Rachel McKinnon, whoever you want to call it, you can Google either one, probably find out who it is. But you're not a biological woman. You are a male, and a woman is an adult human female. The whole clip was so weird, though, because you do see how postmodernism is infecting everything. Because basically, Rachel says, if the government says it, then it's fact. So you can change language, you can change science as long as government says it.
Exactly. That's what we were discussing this morning, because Steffi and I on the way to work were having this big discussion about the difference between facts and truth.
Because I was like, what made the government say, okay, let's change these people's sex on their birth certificate or on their driver's license? Like, did they have research that was done in order to make it okay for them to do that?
Steffi always sees the best in people for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, we change our license and stuff like that. More, it's always been more for safety reasons and stuff like that. Because if you
Mm.
are transitioned and you are out in the world and, you flash your ID somewhere, say you're getting a drink somewhere or something like that, and somebody sees that you're male but you're female presenting, that could cause some harassment in the past
Mm.
when transsexualism and even being gay was not very accepted. And so
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons why they allow you to do it. Yeah, there's not really any research. Every state is different in how they go about it. I even think in New York now you can actually just choose, and so you can actually choose like non-binary, so you can actually have an X on your license because New York
Nice.
says you can.
Have you changed yours? If that's too personal, it's okay. You don't have to answer. But have you changed your birth certificate and your license?
Yes, I have. I did. That was one of the first things I did after I could. So again, every state is very different. So in Georgia, you actually have to have gone through the whole process. You actually have to have surgery
Oh,
to
okay.
show that you have transitioned. In
Mhm.
other states, you don't have to do anything. Like again, California, you just I think you just go in and say I want to change my license, and they change it. And
Mhm.
actually, passports are the same way. Passports, you can literally go and change your passport tomorrow to whatever gender you want. There's male, female, or X.
Wow.
So in this interview with Trevor Noah, he seems very visibly uncomfortable the whole time, despite the fact that he's, a leftist himself, ostensibly. It appears as if he's, walking on eggshells and doing everything he can to try not to offend anybody. Because, I mean, frankly, Sarah, if for the rest of us in the world who aren't in the transgender or transsexual world or aren't LGBTQ, it feels like there's always like a bomb waiting to explode at any point in time
Yeah.
for the rest of us. So can you understand why?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
sensitivity
I
is
mean,
so important in our world today.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is his audience. Like, his audience would cancel him if he pushed back too hard. And so I think Trevor Noah did a decent job with what he was given. He's sitting here trying to toe this line, but he's also giving some pushback. Like, what would you say about this? And it's really interesting because it's like, I'm female because the government says so, and I'm biologically a person. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like, so you're not a biological female just because you're actually a person, like you actually do exist, and you're not a female because the government says so. You're not even a woman. I mean, we talk about this. I think we've talked about this before. Trans women are trans women, in my opinion, which are males with gender dysphoria. And I would go so far as to say that trans women are a subsection of men. I've said this before, something that people online don't, they think the opposite, but I don't. And it's okay to say that because a man is an adult
Why
human
do you
male.
say that, Sarah? Why would you say something so dangerous and so brave, as the meme
That's
goes?
funny. I've never heard a transgender person say
You're
something
like the
like that.
only person on this
Yes.
planet who's saying this, but why? Why?
Well, again, it goes back to, again, like, definitions. Like, what are definitions? Like, if they don't mean anything, if they're not rooted in science. So again, a man is an adult human male. If that's not the case, then what is a man? A woman is an adult human female. If we can't define it like that, then what is it? And then you start to get into these circular definitions that you see the left get into all the time, like you saw with Matt Walsh's "What is a Woman" and everything like that. I mean, there's quite a few of us out there that actually agree with me. It's just, I think me and Blair White are the two most outspoken with this.
Do you
Yes.
agree that sex and gender are two different definitions?
Or are they the same thing?
I think gender is still rooted in sex.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that trans women are a separate gender. I think that, again, they are a subsection of men, but it doesn't
Okay.
mean that we
See,
don't live our
Stephanie and I were
lives and
talking about,
present
sorry
this
to interrupt, but
way.
it just, my head has been exploding over this because, well, because the thing is that like she like has gone to these dictionary definitions of things, and it's like, I'm telling her, I'm like, the dictionary is lying. Because like the Merriam-Webster, for example, like they changed the definition of anti-vaxxer to include anybody who's against mandatory vaccinations. And I was like, the definition of gender and sex are for the most part interchangeable and should be used interchangeably for the most part. But they've changed the definition of gender in the dictionary in order to comply with gender fascism that we're experiencing right
Yeah.
now. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. Well, we also see it quite a bit too. I mean, I always say that they're very similar. I mean, you can look at it and see like the nuance in gender, but there is no nuance in sex. So like when I talk about like sexuality, when I say that, there's this whole debate if you're, if you date trans women and only women, that makes you still bisexual or homosexual. And I say it's kind of a complicated issue. It is kind of saying like if I was in a relationship with a man, then I don't necessarily think that would be considered a gay relationship, because the way that society, like if we were out in society, how that would be perceived. But it's not necessarily it's not a heterosexual relationship. It would still be a homosexual relationship in that regard. So that's where the nuance kind of comes in, I think, with gender, but it's all based in kind of the same. It's all based on biological realities.
Probably the biggest lie that person told in the interview was like, I think it's actually really simple. It's not complicated at all. It's like, you're telling me that if I'm a man and I'm born a man and I go and I perform oral something on another man, biological man, that is not a gay act. No, like it's just
like, what if they had their their genitals changed and then they no longer have the genitals of a man?
Okay,
it's so confusing.
Anyway,
Well, and I would say that's why I think that it is kind of its own sexuality to date a trans person. Honestly, if you like trans women and only women, it's not a gay relationship, but it's also not a straight relationship.
I think like the bravest thing, Sarah, that I would say admit, but I mean like I don't know if that's the right word for it. The bravest thing that you say, about yourself is that you suffer from gender dysphoria, and dysphoria is an illness. As Stephanie was saying before the show, she was talking about like not dyslexia, but like, what is it? If you were bulimic, we wouldn't pump your stomach and make you throw up as a way to make you feel better for your bulimia.
There's two schools of thought. One is that you should do psychoanalysis with someone with gender dysphoria to help them adjust to their assigned sex at birth. Whereas the other school of thought is that you should give them hormones and surgery so that they can officially transition away from their assigned sex at birth. So it's like, which school of thought is right?
Right, because it's like my brother has been saying this, my big gay brother, and he's been saying that like he thinks that we're going to look back on these surgeries the same way that we do look back on like lobotomies. But it's obviously a tricky subject, Sarah, because you
do lobotomies on transgender individuals.
Yes, and you have actually undergone that surgery, Sarah. I mean, how would you respond to that?
I don't think that that's necessarily how it's going to go. I think that we're going to look at it and say that the vast, like how they're doing it and how they're simply just going straight into it with no, safeguards and stuff like that to figure it out. I will say that like bulimia, which is led by body dysmorphia, is actually like the opposite concept of gender dysphoria. So gender dysphoria is actually seeing your secondary sex characteristics, having an uncomfortability with what's actually there, where body dysmorphia is actually seeing something that's not there. So like thinking you're fat when you're not fat, like it's actually seeing, it's like a different perception of reality. Whereas again, this whole notion that we're trapped in the wrong body is not accurate. And I think that has actually led to a lot of this confusion between what the disorder actually is. And so there is obviously there's a lot of people with gender dysphoria that don't transition, and transition doesn't help them, but for the very small few, it does. And so for us, it's like the way to treat it is with psychotherapy, to work out your issues with your body and who you are first, and then make sure you're in a good place. And if transition's right for you, then that's the way to treat it. And obviously it's worked well for me, it's worked well for others. It's made us more comfortable in who we are in our bodies, and I'm more confident than ever. Obviously I'm out here doing this stuff, but I think that it really has to come after a long analysis of, is this really gender dysphoria? And is this the right thing for you? Because for everybody, it's not.
It seems as if let me reset for just a second for those who might just be tuning in. Good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're glad to have you here on the Wake Up America show. Make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel that you're watching on if you enjoy the content that you're seeing today. I'm joined in studio by the lovely Stephanie Peterson. That's my wife. Freedom Family Friday is what we call it. She comes in every Friday and joins us. And we are joined by our mutual friend, Sarah Higdon. She is a transsexual, Catholic military veteran, and America-loving libertarian. She's joining us right now to talk a little bit about Trevor Noah, a comedian who sat down with a transgender athlete talking about men and women's sports. And that's the next subject that I want to get to, Sarah, is the question of biological males playing in women's sports. This person, this Nina character, whatever you want to call her, they claim they say that we don't know. When asked if whether they're not biological males have an advantage over biological females, the answer was, we don't know yet. Now, in order to save us a long drawn out definition here, you've said that, well, if the transition has been done and the hormones have been done before the person has reached the, biological age of puberty, then there is some evidence that maybe they're on a closer to a more level playing field, right? But of course, that opens up the whole can of worms of whether or not we should even be transitioning young people in the first place. Let's assume that we don't. Let's assume that we don't want to do that and commit young people to life-changing decisions before they reach the age of attainment. If somebody transitions after puberty, which is, if that's going to happen at all, we would say that's probably much better option than transitioning while you're young. Is there a biological advantage or disadvantage if someone has transitioned after puberty?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question, and that was just a straight up lie because we had the studies. The studies are out there. Like, there's reasons why all of the so many different sports organizations are starting to change their rules, and because it's starting to even show that even after a year, 2 years, 3 years on testosterone suppressants, those advantages gained through being testosterone dominant, I guess, for so long, are still there. And I'm actually walking proof of this. I'm at the gym right now, which is funny, but
and you're like, I'm lifting this stuff over your head.
So we should do an experiment in the gym right now. Take your camera out there and start, bench pressing.
Sarah can out bench press me.
Well, that's the thing is actually, if you've been watching some of my Twitter stuff, and I'm waiting, and I'm calling it Twitter. Okay, I'm gonna make this point real quick. I'm gonna dead name Twitter until they give me subscriptions.
Yes,
okay,
I'm with you. With you. I don't get subscriptions.
Dead naming Twitter.
Yes.
Bigot.
So what I'm trying to do though is I'm actually in the gym. About 3 months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm an athlete. Let me see if I can break the raw female squat record. And let's see if I can do this within a year. Okay, so within 3 months, I started from basically zero. I was, I was squatting like 135 pounds, and now I can do a full squat at 205. I literally would have won like the last 3 raw women's meets because I would have been doing that. And the record is 285, and I was doing like inch squats with 305 the other day. So like I'm putting that weight on my back. I know what it feels like, but I'm not actually squatting it yet, but I'm making tremendous progress, and I'm like, I would already be dominating the sport after 3 months.
But would you ever actually compete?
Videos. Oh no. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is to show that it's not fair. It would never be fair for me to compete in the female division because I
dominate them.
An advantage. I mean, I've never done like this type of squats in my life. I mean, I was in the Army and everything like that. So, and I used to do like 12-mile road marches with like weight on my back, but so I have strong legs, but it's not like it's not, I never did like the squats like this. So starting at zero like this and just moving up, it just shows that I wouldn't have had to train my whole life to like most of these female athletes do just to win these competitions. And so it's not a fair, it's completely unfair for males to compete in female sports. It wouldn't be right. And I can tell you, that you don't lose your advantage. Like even on my spin bike, my spin instructor sees my power numbers, and it's just like, I've had women who I've told doing this, they're more even liberal women being like, thank you for doing that because this is important even to us. I mean, when you see the stats, and this is what's really interesting about the whole thing is I think there's been studies that or polls that have come out over and over that have showed that like 75% of Americans, not based on party lines, but Americans in general disagree with males and female sports. It's not a popular idea. Same with like there was a Harvard Harris poll like maybe a month or two ago that came out that said that 68% of Democrats alone disagree with transitioning children. So these are not popular ideas that they're pushing on the left.
So pause for just a moment there, because so I want to zero in on that. So you said that how many people? What's the percentage of Americans that think that biological males should not be playing in women's sports? What was that?
I think it was 73%.
73%. So then I am part of the 20. I am part of the 27%.
27, yep.
I am part of the 27%, actually. So I actually, on one issue, now you know how I love to stir the pot, Sarah, and take positions that are sometimes a little controversial. I'm going to infuriate everyone who is watching this show right now and absolutely offend everyone when I say that on this. So I think that they should have, when it comes to biological males in sports, I think that they should have separate facilities so we don't get into a Leah Thomas like situation, right? So that people like Riley Gaines, don't have to see giant, dong in the bathroom if they don't want to be exposed to that. But I think they should be allowed to play in sports. And as a matter of fact, I actually encourage it. Can you guess, Sarah, why I think that?
Well, yeah.
Take a guess.
It's actually, and I know this argument, it's actually, in some ways I agree with you too. It's to show the absurdity of this, to show how ridiculous it is. Because if you can actually go in and trans women start, or even just self-ID trans women, or fully functioning males go in and start destroying sports, then it really just shows how absurd it is. And so I understand.
Yes. And so here's my brief explanation of this. The woke want equity. Okay, they want equity, but they only want equity, Sarah, when it benefits their favored groups. Their favored groups are everyone but white males. So, therefore, every single policy that they support must always be in favor of everyone but white males. If white males benefit, then it's bad. In this situation, in this scenario, white males benefit. Because by being allowed to play in women's sports, they're taking women's scholarships, they're taking your trophies, they're taking your place on teams, they're taking the spots on the WNBA, they're taking your place in the Olympics, they're taking your gold medals and all that kind of stuff. I want to see equity. So this is the misogynist view. If you hate women, then and you're a true misogynist, then you want biological males in women's sports so you can watch them get absolutely decimated. Like, for example, UFC. Well, who's the UFC fighter who gets out there? And if
that woman
is some Fox character or something.
It was Fallon Fox.
Fallon Fox.
There was also another one. I can't remember her name.
If you hate women, if you hate women, put men in the UFC, in the women's competition, and watch them get their skulls crushed. Because here's the thing, and this is how I'll tie this up, and I'd love to get your response to this. The only time that things ever change in this country, is when something negatively impacts women. If something negatively impacts women, then it is a problem, okay? Because all of society has to aim towards protecting women, specifically white liberal women. But for the most part, like WIC programs, women and infant children, right? Everything is gained towards women. So in this specific instance, it harms women. And so I'm for it because shit will finally get done. They will finally lose it. And the majority of Americans are against it. And I am the 27% who's for. I stand arm in arm with my woke brothers and sisters, my sisters of transgenders of color, that biological males should be in female sports. That it's twisted, it's sick, but it does make sense.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
I don't think so, though. Honestly, because we've seen recently that actually, the whole actually meme. We've actually seen trans women being able to run over women for a while now, and that's not really, it's kind of interesting to see that they're now taking the side of males because they perceive trans women as being higher level victims than females. It's
Do you have a question, Stephanie?
I do think.
Go ahead.
It's more about the solution for this problem. So it's like you personally, Sarah, if you ever did want to compete as an athlete, do you think you would choose to compete with the men category, or like which category do you think you'd enter into for sports?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I would never enter in. It wouldn't be the female category. I
Okay.
think I mean, there's been a lot of talk of having an open category, which you could have mediocre men, and you could have trans women, and you could even have some dominant females in this category, right? But where it stands right now, then yeah, I would probably just compete with men. And now, if I was in the position and sports meant that much to me,
Yeah.
I would not have started testosterone suppressants. You
Okay.
know, if I was making money playing sports, I may have socially transitioned, but not taking, supplements. It just really, how much is transition affecting your life, and is it worth it to quit playing the sport that you want to play? So there's trade-offs there. So I think that's what you have to look at.
That's right. There are no solutions, only trade-offs, as the great Thomas Sowell, great economist, black economist man, has said. Sarah, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you go today?
So I mean, I'll just say you can go find me at sarahhigdon.com. You can go find my writing. I'm a writer at Postmillennial and Human Events, and then on Twitter and Instagram at sarahhigdon_. I also do a Monday night show talking news of the day at 7 p.m. on YouTube and Rumble as well. So just youtube.com, rumble.com/Sarah Higdon. And interestingly enough, so I was out in California last weekend. I actually did 2 Jubilee debates while I was out there. So if you've seen some of Blair White's comments, me and Blair were on one of the same debates, and it was insane. We were debating trans leftists. So it got hot. Just so watch out for that on the Jubilee channel. It's gonna be fire.
That sounds awesome. Sarah, you are doing the Lord's work out there. We love hearing from you, and it's been great to see your star rise. I guess now we're both columnists over at Human Events these days, so we're working together in a semi-official capacity, and we appreciate you coming and joining us on the show today, and for putting up with my trolling, and for being a darn good person. Have a good one, Sarah. We'll see you soon.
All right, we'll see you later.
Take care. That's Sarah Higdon. What do you think of her? Send us a text at 573-319-1586. We're going to have Jamie Marie Pope here in just a minute, but we got to sell some gold. Steffi, you want to tell them about Lear Capital?
Of course. So I think gold is very, very important. If you don't know anything about it, it is really one of the most stable things that you could possibly invest in. So if you call Lear Capital, what's their phone number?
It is 1-800-885-2175.
2175. If you call them today, you can actually get a $500 credit towards a purchase of your metals. I believe they sell gold and silver, both. So you could get either one, and you can sleep really soundly knowing that at the end of the day, you could always trade it back in and get your money back.
Capital is a sponsor of the Wake Up America show, and they believed in us when we had only 20 or 30 people watching the Wake Up America show. And now that we've got over 2,000, let's show them the power of the free market and that we believe in the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty. If you've been thinking about investing your gold and silver, buy your gold from Lear Capital. We wouldn't recommend it to our own family members if we didn't believe in it and trust in Lear Capital. Visit them at 1-800-885-2175. If you want to get that $500 account credit, you have to call that number. So write it down, 1-800-885-2175, or you can visit the website learaustin.com. If you go to learaustin.com, you can sign up for a free gold and silver information packet, and that's where you can find out more about all of their investment options just directly. But if you want that $500 account credit locked in, you have to call the number today, 1-800-885-2175. Thank you to all the 2,000 people who are watching us and supporting us here on Rumble. If you want to help a small business, a small family like me and my wife, Stephanie, who, I left my job a year ago to start this business with 20, 30 people watching the stream, and now with 2,000 people, we want to start to show some of that love back to Lear Capital because they've invested in us, and we want you to invest in them and help your family as well to secure your financial future. So call 1-800-885-2175. That's 1-800-885-2175. All right, well, when we get back, Jamie Marie Pope, she was there when we were streaming to 20 or 30 people instead of 2,000 people. Jamie Marie Pope is going to be joining us here in the live stream. She's running for the House of Representatives in Louisiana. They may have a different name for it, but she'll clear that up for us when we get back. Two Shakes of a Lamb Tail, don't go away on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. We're glad to have you here. It's Freedom Family Friday, which means the lovely Stephanie Peterson is joining us here. Steffi, how you doing?
Hey, doing fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm just flying because the conversation is so invigorating.
I know. We're so grateful and glad to have 2,300 people watching us live on the Wake Up America Show. Nobody was here. I'd say nobody. No, not a lot of people were here just like 2 weeks ago. Ever since Rumble started featuring us on the front page, it's been absolutely transformational. We always hoped that one day we'd get to this level, and now here we are. We're glad to have you here. But back in the day, when I first started this show, we had about 20 or 30 people watching the Wake Up America Show, and they called themselves the Cantina Crew, which was kind of like a reference to like the Star Wars Cantina, you know, like back in the day when I was on the radio, broadcast radio, the group of people would get together and we'd have like 20 or 30 people. It's a little tight-knit group. And since then, we all
chat Facebook.
All chat in Facebook. And so there's always been OG members of the Cantina Crew who will always sort of like, you know, have a special place in our hearts. Well, one of those people who was a part of that OG Cantina Crew back when we were just a little 20 or 30 person live stream, before the 2,300 people joined us, is an OG member. Her name is Jamie Marie Pope, and she has been inspired to run for office. She's joining us now for her very first time on the show. Good morning, Jamie Marie. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you too.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jamie Marie, and what inspired you to run for office?
My kids and my family. I got involved mostly going to education hearing meetings, and I kind of ventured out to other committee hearings. And one thing I realized is that the people do not have a voice at the Capitol. So I'm hoping that's the one thing I can bring to the table. I've sat through so many committee hearings, and I don't know how y'all do it in other states, but in Louisiana, you're lucky to get 3 minutes to speak. And of course, you have to introduce yourself and all that before you can even start making your points. And by the time it's time for the public to speak, most people in the room or they get up and leave. The legislators don't even stay to hear what you have to say. And so one thing that really motivated me was the realization that their minds are already made up. Nothing we say matters. We have no voice. And that's the main reason I think that we need regular people to run, to bring the people's voice back to the people's house.
So what was it about the education system specifically, Jamie, that irked you so much that you wanted to get involved?
Well, initially I guess when I first got involved, it was more just, I was a young mom. So I started advocating for my kids at a pretty young age. I've been doing it most of my adult life. But I would say I got more involved when they started closing down schools, masking our children, and trying to push vaccines on them through this COVID nonsense. That's when I first went. I wanted to let them know that masking doesn't work for everyone. My son was struggling with speech at the time, and if you cover up everyone's mouth, he's not even going to learn how to say the words correctly.
True.
And he was also a child who was making progress, so he didn't qualify for speech therapy. So he didn't even get that one-on-one time where they were allowed to take off their mask. He would have just been thrown in a room with strangers, and it just broke my heart. The thought of a first grader or second grader going to school after the summer, usually your teachers welcome you with open arms and smiles, and I just thought of my kid just scared, and I just couldn't take it. So that's when I got the most involved, I would say, as far as education. From there, the woke agenda has driven me crazy. I know I've sent y'all links. I don't know about the rest of your viewers, but the organization I work for has been in a battle with our library systems for a while for, are we allowed to say porn on here?
You can. It's a live stream. We're on Rumble now, so we can say what we like.
For in the children's section of the library, and that's something that thankfully this past session we did start addressing. I don't know that we necessarily see eye to eye on it, but my biggest issue was if you look at some of these books, they're literal instructionals, and some people say they're in the young adult section, but the problem is that starts at 6th grade. That's like 11-year-olds. That's definitely children. That's nowhere near an adult. So that's another thing, this woke agenda being pushed on the kids. And of course, I'm pro-life, pro-constitution, definitely pro-constitutional carry. And there you go.
There you go. All right. Well, if you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're grateful and glad to have all 2,000 of you here joining us on the live stream this morning. My lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson, joining us there on my left, and glad to have Stephanie here. It's Freedom Family Friday. And that beautiful face looking at you over to my, left on, but her seat is Jamie Marie Pope. She's running for, what do you call your House of Representatives in Louisiana? Is it something different?
We just say House of Representatives,
Okay.
The legislature. I know
In Virginia, they call them delegates.
They call it State House.
Yeah, State House.
Bravery so much. If just thinking of myself as a person like running for office, that would be absolutely terrifying. I mean, like, did you have to take speech lessons or anything to like
how's it
amp
going?
you up for this whole process? Because it just sounds really scary.
Okay, I probably should have, but actually, I don't know. I would say a lot of watching and listening to y'all actually helped push me over the edge to go ahead and say, I can do this. I don't have to be an attorney, or I don't have to be a professional speech giver. I'm a regular person and I can represent regular people. Now, I will say giving speeches is where I'm the most nervous, because I'm better at having conversation and talking with people. I'm not so great at talking at people.
Gotcha. There was this controversy that you were involved in Louisiana, where in the House Galley, if you want to be able to go and observe the legislative session, that apparently you for a brief period, you were allowed to video record what was going on the floor, but apparently the legislature abolished, or they banned the ability to record from the galley, which is where everybody sits. What's this story?
Yeah, I saw your live stream. So cool.
What happened?
Okay, so let me take you back to 2020. I tried to recall my Speaker of the House. Our governor shut down our state, and so we wanted our legislators to use the power they had to override that, and they wouldn't. There were a handful of them that did, and we had a petition. We called it the Seaball petition, and it was authored by Alan Seaball, who's one of our state reps, and a lot of our real conservative legislators did sign on with that. But our Speaker of the House strong arms our legislators, as I'm sure most speakers of the House do. So we said, okay, well, if he's going to be that guy, then let's recall him too. And someone else went and filed it. So I just really scrambled and tried to do what I could with someone else's petition because they weren't working on it. Fast forward to session, and I applied for media credentials. They did end up getting approved, but throughout this whole process, there was this big ordeal with a camera. Most people are allowed to sit in the balcony of the House chamber, and you could video, take pictures, whatever. The only rules were you can't use flash photography, you can't have that little red dot that's scary on a camera, and you can't have a tripod. So, yes. So the first time they came up there, they said something about I couldn't use that specific lens, and I said, okay, well, I have a smaller lens, no big deal. And they're like, okay, that camera's fine. Then they came up there and said, well, that red dot. And I said, okay, well, I'll put a sticker over it. So my camera still has a sticker, like a white sticker that I just had on something else that I peeled off, and I colored on it with a black ink pen. The red light.
So creative.
Well, after that, my media credentials finally got approved. I didn't use them for about a week because I was in committee hearings the whole time. The first day I used them, the Speaker of the House's personal, I don't know, it's like his personal security guy. He came over there and was like, how'd you get in here? I said, with this. And I showed him my credentials. And he said, who gave that to you? I was like, y'all, where else would I get this? And so
counterfeit.
He went and got this.
We're making fake press credentials in the back of the van out of the high school.
I mean, that might be a good gig now since they're trying to silence us. But so they ended up pulling my press credentials, said that I was just a blog. So I guess they were downplaying my importance.
Just a blog.
So just a blog. The Illuminator is another publication that's only online, and they have credentials. We did a public records request, and I'm the only person that has been denied a media badge at the Capitol.
Congratulations.
Doing something right.
Yes,
Well,
you know that you're definitely ticking people off. So so they banned cameras in the House Gallery because of your activism.
yes, because whenever I couldn't go into the media well, I went back to the balcony, and I guess they were saying, well, you can't do it here either, because it was like in the middle of the day, they just had some random people come and use like packing tape and tape these signs up all over the balcony. Like, it was ridiculous.
Oh.
And then the next session is when that live stream was.
So
That's when they decided I couldn't use my phone either.
So, Jamie, you're running for the House of Representatives in Louisiana right now. You've been inspired by my campaigns and social media activism to go and get involved in government. We absolutely hearty congratulations for just having the guts to get out there and try. Because I'll tell you, just getting out there and putting yourself up for scrutiny is in itself a heroic act. Because I don't know what your primary has been like, but I'll tell you, mine were bitter and bruising, and I still got scars from people who, like, once you run for office, you're going to make enemies, and they will try and destroy you personally in every way. They'll come after your family and your kids. So it's hard to get good people like yourself to run for office, just because you've probably learned your lesson now about how nasty it can be. I mean, I don't know how your primary is going so far, but I guess your election is coming up in October. So
It's
how's it
October
going?
14th, yeah.
Yeah.
Things are going well whenever I talk to people, but I have learned that you go to these meetings, and even a lot of the people you're involved with during your activism, you have so many people that tell you, we need more young faces, we're so excited to have you, and they really encourage you to run, and they put it in your head like, you're the right person for this job, we're tired of politicians and we support you. And then you qualify. And me, I'm in a busy field of 5, and I think it's 2 trial attorneys, one's in construction, and one is currently on the Metro Council. So I'm really the grassroots candidate, and I'm finding that all these people that supported me before are saying, well, we'll get involved during the runoff. And my thing is, you push these people to run, and I know I'm the right person for the job, but it's just astounding to me that they push people to run, and then they want to sit back until a runoff, and we end up with the same old white dudes who've been there for decades, because we can't compete with that financially. We needed help getting to the runoff. Like, we are the next generation, but we need help getting there.
Yeah, no, they always say, "Oh, we need more young people," but they need to shut up, sit down, and let the old people take over. If you,
Frustrating.
it is. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're glad and grateful to have you here. Make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content that you're getting so far today. The Wake Up America show launched 1 year and 2 weeks ago. And when we first started this show, we had 20 or 30 people watching us. Jamie Marie Pope, who's joining us live right now, was a member of the Cantina crew there at the time in our early days. And now here we are, over 1,000 people watching us live right now. I think it was 1,600 by our last count. We're glad and grateful to have you here, but we'd love it if we could earn your like and subscribe to our Rumble channel here at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. The Wake Up America shows every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. So 2 hours of great Liberty content Monday through Friday. It's a great way to start your day. And of course, on Fridays, it's a special day where my wife, Stephanie Peterson, joins us in studio and we get to have a little bit of fun. Jamie Marie Pope is now running for the House of Representatives in the state of Louisiana. So she went from a viewer of media and just a sort of a casual observer to now she's
fan of ours.
Yeah, and now we're fans, and now we're fans of Jamie Marie Pope. We're big supporters of her. I'm also a monthly donor to Jamie Marie Pope's campaign because I believe in her and I believe that she can do good in the capital in Louisiana. So I hope that you'll support her as well and visit her website. Jamie, is there anything else that you want to say to our listeners and plug your website and let people know where they can support you before we let you go?
My website is popeforla.com. That's the word for, not the number. I don't know. The only thing I have to say to anybody these days is remember who fought for you when it wasn't popular to do. That's the people we need in office right now, across the board, across the country.
There you go. That's so applies to me. When I wasn't popular, when I had 20 viewers, Jamie Marie fought for me, and now we fight for Jamie Marie. Hey, Jamie Marie, you rock. We wish you the best. Your primary is coming up very close, and we are definitely going to be thinking about you, and we absolutely will be supporting you when you win the primary, of course, all the way up to the general election.
Thanks.
That's Jamie Marie Pope. What do you think of Jamie Marie Pope? Ladies and gents, send us a text at 573-319-1586. Well, she's come a long way, hasn't she?
Really has. I mean, she just shows that normal humans can get into government or try to get into government. Just because, like I said, it's like I see it as some impossible, scary thing to do.
Yes. So here's the thing about normal humans getting into government. I'm for normal humans getting into government. Absolutely. Yeah. However, I don't think Jamie Marie Pope doesn't strike me as the type of person who, if she shows up for work in the Capitol, she probably wouldn't wear like a hoodie and what do you call them? Not leotards, but like leggings, right? Yes. But apparently some people on the federal side of things do. Take a look at this picture here. This is U.S. federal senator from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, showing up to work, looking like the funniest tweet that I saw on this yesterday, Stephanie, was somebody said that John Fetterman looks like he's getting ready to tell you a story about how he found half a cat in an air conditioning repair that he was doing yesterday.
I know, right? I mean, he's a schlub.
Yeah.
We'll use that Yiddish word.
Thank you. Good Yiddish word there. There's John Fetterman showing up to work, looking schlubby. And it ignited a debate, Stephanie, across the country about standards when it comes to showing up for work.
Yeah.
Because obviously Democrats and people who are going to support Democrats or are going to support anything that the Democrats do are saying, no, I don't care how they dress. And like, it's elitist for you to look down on people for showing up to work dressed in a certain way. It's kind of like, you got to understand, you should dress for the job that you have, right? And the job, but it's like, they're saying that it's ableist because he's had depression. He's been in and out of the hospital, right? And apparently if he has to dress up nice for work, that might trigger his depression.
Here's the thing, though. That's why FMLA exists. If you cannot participate in your job, then you can usually get a doctor to write a letter for FMLA so that you can be excused from your job duty until you can come back safely and happily. So it's like, if he really is that mentally unstable, then he probably shouldn't be there.
Exactly. And as soon as he won election, he went into the hospital for 6 weeks.
Yes.
And while he was in the hospital, his staff was filing legislation and co-sponsoring legislation for him. It's kind of reminds me of
legal?
Well, here's the thing. If you're a politician, everything you do is legal unless somebody decides to, unless you're a Republican and they decide to prosecute you for it.
Like you said, you just make your own rules and ask for forgiveness after, right?
Exactly. But, there should be some limits on what politicians can do. And there should be some limits on the legality of what politicians can do. But the reality is that that's not what it is. It's one set of rules for some and none for the other, and not for others. And here's why, because they relaxed the dress code for senators, but the staff and the pages all have to show up in their suits and ties and appropriate wear. So here's the thing. They don't really believe in equality for everybody when it comes to dress codes. No, because everybody else still has to show up for work in the Senate wearing the appropriate clothing for that Senate. So if they actually were these populist leftists, like they claim to be, that it's elitist to have to dress, you shouldn't have to dress up as, I don't care what my senators show up as long as they vote. Okay, well then why does the rest of the staff have to show up like that?
It smells stinky to me. I mean, I know Schumer, he's the one that made this announcement.
Made this change, yeah.
The dress code change. And it's like, is it really only about Fetterman? Is he the only one that really made this happen?
Yeah, they're doing all of this just for him, right?
This is so weird.
It's kind of like if you were in kindergarten and it's like, no, we have to change the rules for one person. Everybody has to change in order to fit that one agenda, right?
I had this happen to me at my
Really?
previous job.
Shut up.
Yes, I used to work in a hospital environment, and there was this one coworker that she wore exposing clothing. It was not appropriate for work.
Really?
And so then they established a rule that we all had to buy our own lab coats or our own sweaters to wear at work to cover ourselves up so we could be more professional looking. It was because of one person, and I had a consequence because of that one person.
Well, so here's the thing. So this is why this is an interesting story too, because on a more close to home angle, because we're broadcasting from Jefferson City, Missouri right now. This is the Missouri State Capitol we're in. Our friend Mike Moon, Senator Mike Moon, got in trouble here in Missouri. Do you remember this when he showed up in Missouri to the Senate for wearing overalls?
Oh, it sounds kind of familiar, actually. I think we met that guy at an event once.
Yeah, Mike Moon.
The country guy?
Yes. So he's a country guy. He's from Southwest Missouri area. Okay. And he showed up to the Senate here in bib overalls. And it's kind of a big joke because, so it was a story here in Missouri about whether or not they should be required to wear a dress because the Senate leadership was freaking out over Mike Moon wearing these bib overalls. And so the question is should we apply those same standards that we have to John Fetterman to Mike Moon? Answer no.
Because everyone have to wear overalls.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So I'm gonna reveal a little bit of my Machiavellian side here. And I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that it's okay when Republicans do it. Does that make sense? So
because you're just trying to stir the pot.
You just stir the pot a little bit, okay? Yes.
How dare you? Fetterman is a Republican.
Democrat.
He's a Democrat.
Fetterman is a Democrat. Gotcha. So here's the thing. You cannot show up to work wearing what John Fetterman is wearing if you're a Democrat. I would change the rules if I was the Senate Majority Leader. If I was the Senate Majority Leader right now, I would make it so that Democrats all have to show up in proper attire, but Republicans are okay. Just because I think it would highlight, just like I have my opinion on transgender in sports, it would highlight the ridiculousness.
It's not equality.
Yes, we because the Democrats are so blatant about their double standards.
Yes.
I think that it's time for us to finally start implementing our own. It's time for the double standards to work in our favor. So, since Mike Moon is a Missouri Republican and a good old boy, Southwest conservative Republican, it's okay for Mike Moon to wear bib overalls in the Senate here in Missouri. Yeah. It is not okay for that schlub, demonic, leftist Pennsylvania senator with mental illness to show up to the federal Senate and to besmirch our beloved sacred democracy with his disgusting wardrobe. He looks like he smells like pig shit, to be quite honest. But
yeah, and it's not just like casual dress. I mean, he literally is wearing grubby clothes that look like they haven't been washed and they probably have holes in them.
And that is a big difference too, actually, because when Mike Moon showed up wearing his bib overalls, he had a jacket over it.
Okay. He was dressing it up.
Yeah, John Fetterman they didn't even relax the dress code to where okay, you can wear your ugly shorts and your disgusting oversized shirts, but you have to wear a jacket over it. There has to be at least a jacket, right? If not a tie.
to be rules about the casual dress.
Yes.
Casual dress. Does that mean you can wear your pajamas to work? I heard one lawmaker saying she'd like to wear her bikini to work. Maybe Boebert should be.
No, dude, that was
be happy with.
Yeah, seriously, that was hilarious. So Senator Susan Collins made that joke. She's like, she's like an old crone kind of lady, and she's like, what if I want to wear a bikini to work? I'm going to wear a bikini to work, and everybody's like,
no, God.
I mean, I don't know if she's pretty, but if somebody like AOC wore a bikini to work, oh heck yeah,
that is allowed.
Like yeah,
that's okay. Yes.
Boebert and AOC, they're like the only two people.
Yes. So here's the thing. So again, for President of the Senate, my rules are if you're hot.
Right.
If you're hot, you can wear a bikini on the floor,
okay,
but only a bikini. It's either got to be full pantsuit or it's got to be the full blown bikini. But it would be allowed. Here's what I would say the exception is: you can wear a bikini if you're hot.
Yes.
But but say you don't want to do like the bottom, maybe you've got like a thong or something.
Okay.
You can wear like the Daisy Dukes, right? But you got the bikini underneath it.
Okay.
Right. So you've got the thong kind of sticking up and out. Yeah. But you've got Daisy Dukes on, so we can still
have to cover the thong, even if you're hot.
You don't have to cover if you're hot, you can wear the thong. You don't have to have Daisy Dukes. That's fine, right? So AOC, Boebert are okay. But let's say that they want to be at least a little modest, okay? And they can wear Daisy Dukes, as long as there's the bikini bottoms underneath it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, men, bisexual women, are you okay with this?
Yes, I think we need to take a vote right now. So what do we think, guys? Should we take a vote? So if hot can wear a bikini, so that automatically disqualifies, like 98%. Have you ever seen that one senator from Arizona? What's her name? Kirsten Gillibrand. She's actually kind of hot.
Okay.
Gillibrand. Yeah, kind of hot. Yes. So I think.
Oh, okay. She's an older
lady. Yeah, she is more mature. Yes, right. But here's the thing. So I think, was it Mitch McConnell or somebody described her as the hottest person in the Senate? That's what they did.
Mitch McConnell talked.
Somebody said that. Hold on.
Before he just stopped talking. She's really hot, and then he's like.
No. It was Kirsten, but hottest. It's Harry Reid. It was Harry Reid. He said it in 2010. So it was like, yeah. Yes. So Kirsten Gillibrand, the hottest senator, Harry Reid says. Yes. So in regards to senators, I would say, I would confirm that. Yeah, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. But who's this Democratic? Oh, Kirsten Sinema. Kirsten Sinema.
Sounds like quite a name.
Kirsten.
Sounds like a stage name.
She's a Democrat.
Is she in cinema?
No. But I won't say hot. But I would say, on a 1 to 10 scale, at least the problem is that if you're a senator, then there should be like a curve, for example.
Yeah.
But I would say, would you allow Kirsten Sinema to wear a bikini on the floor of the Senate?
She's going to take her glasses off and wear contacts.
No,
she can wear a bikini.
No. Yeah. Okay, yeah, but only if she bites her glasses. If she takes them off and she bites her glasses,
she can dress like a librarian. There we go.
Yeah, sexy librarian. Okay, so now we're making more exceptions to the rule here. Yes.
Right? We can't just all be the same.
I agree.
We can't be homogenous.
Right. But we should specifically, if hot, can wear a bikini.
Yeah.
And then also, if you look like a sexy librarian, then you can dress as a sexy librarian. But it should be a sexy librarian outfit with like the short skirt.
Yes, has to have short skirt and the high stockings.
High stockings. Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Lovely. All right. So can we
look at that? We've just made the decision for the entire.
We're going to take a roll call vote, or we're going to take a vote on that one. Ayes and nays. All the ayes say aye. Aye. All the nays say nay. And the ayes have it. Congratulations. We now get to see.
Schumer's about to announce this today.
Yeah, for sure. Cheeky Mayor says, can we change the subject now? We're making some people
Sorry, ladies.
We're
just playing.
We're just playing around. We're glad to have you here watching the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're grateful and glad to have you here. Did you see the story, Stephanie, about this judge who was suspended?
I did.
Over refusal to comply with order on mental fitness tests.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier when I was like, we should have to have competency tests for our lawmakers. But what if you refuse your competency test?
Yeah. So in terms of competency tests, instead of John Fetterman, for all we know, probably wouldn't pass one. But this is a really good example. This is a real life example of what we've been talking about. A 96-year-old federal appeals court judge was suspended from hearing cases this week after she refused to comply with an order to undergo neurological tests over concerns that she's not mentally fit to serve on the bench. And this is a case that could have wide-ranging implications. This goes all the way up to Commander-in-Chief here, for God's sakes. It was what we've been talking about this morning, Joe Biden's mental health situation.
And then McConnell.
Mitch McConnell freezing up.
Oh, and Dianne Feinstein.
Dianne
It's like there's
Feinstein.
like 5 people that are in this competency boat right now,
Yep.
at least.
Yep. So take a listen to this. So the big picture: the Judicial Council's unanimous order to suspend D.C. Judge Pauline Newman for 1 year comes as the issue of age and capacity to serve has come in the fore of all 3 branches of government in recent weeks, with calls for imposing age limits and giving older politicians mental competency tests. Okay. So the Judicial Council's order states that there's overwhelming evidence that Newman, quote, may be experiencing significant mental problems, including memory loss, lack of comprehension, confusion, and an inability to perform basic tasks that she was previously able to perform with ease. Of course, her attorney says that these allegations are baseless. So
Do we have any videos? We need some TikTok videos first to prove that she's not competent.
So here's the thing. It appears as if so she was appointed by Ronald Reagan in 1984.
That's a long time.
That is
It's even alive.
literally, I was 3 years old. I was 3 years old when this lady got appointed to the bench. So, and I'm 42. So an attorney for Newman says that her suspension from judicial office pending the results of the investigation was illegal and not authorized by any statute or rule of procedure. The order states that Newman's suspension could be renewed if she does not comply with requests or rescinded if she were to cooperate. So the panel notes that in the order that her colleagues are acutely aware this is not a fitting capstone to her exemplary and storied career. They would prefer a different outcome for their friend and colleague, but it states that evidence indicated she struggled with basic tasks, became frustrated, agitated, belligerent, and hostile towards court staff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good to me. What do you do if somebody refuses a test? I would think after so many refusals, you should just say 3 strikes and you're out.
So here's the thing. So one is the question of, do they have the proper authority to do this?
Yeah.
Should they have the proper authority to do this? And if so, how far could we take this?
Right.
How far could we extrapolate this, right? Should it apply to the Supreme Court? Should it apply to the Senate? Should it apply to the presidency of the United States? Honestly, I don't see any problem with competency tests for holding public office. It's not the same thing as, going down and working as a day laborer on whatever. Like here's the thing. There are competency tests for things like if you want to be a doctor who's a surgeon. Okay, if you're a surgeon and you perform brain surgery and you're like, and you can't even, and your hand is shaking when you're lifting a scalpel, a medical board is going to review you and possibly suspend your license if they think that you're incapable of performing the function of the job that you're actually doing.
If people report you, yeah.
Yeah.
But if nobody reports you, you get to keep going.
Here's the thing, and I'm not a big fan of like bureaucracies or all this kind of stuff, but if there was there should probably be a competency test before you're able to before they hand you a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. Before they go, oh, hey, here you go. People are like, well, what if we voted for him? I don't give a rip. I am not in favor of democracy without limits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in favor of limits on democracy. There should be a limit. I posted this, and I don't want to get into the weeds on this too much. Do you have something you want to say before I dramatically change the subject here?
Skeptic, because I know that there's corrupt people out there, and I feel like they're gonna, fib tests and mess them up and
Be corrupt.
be so biased.
Yes.
So it's like I can't trust things anymore. So I don't even have an answer for this.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question here. So I posted this yesterday on Instagram, Stephanie. Did you see this map of the United States? Take a look at this if you haven't.
Only men voted.
Take a look at that map and
Projected results for the 2018 midterms based on polling patterns and 538's life forecast on October.
So this is 538. So what most people would consider to be a legitimate poll. This 538, even lefties use 538. I think it's actually mostly run by lefties, 538. So this is what we're looking at right now. And we don't have to get into the rabbit hole too much of this one, but people were very angry. All I did was post this yesterday and just with the word sigh, like, okay.
So men are Republicans.
What if only men voted? Okay, so this is what the map of the United States would look like. Projected results for the 2018 midterms, right? So the 2018 midterms based on polling patterns and 538's forecast on October 24th. This is what the United States electoral map would look like if only men voted. So, Stephanie, your take.
Huh. I mean, it's surprising to me, but then I asked myself, why are men more Republican? Is it because they're not so emotional and there's emotions in terms of the Democratic Party?
That's part of it,
I mean,
right?
what makes men Republican? Is it because they like war? They like guns?
Well, I mean, Republicans and Democrats like war. The Democrats are the war party right now. They're the ones pushing for war in Ukraine. Actually, I think that, men who go and fight and die in wars aren't necessarily the biggest fans of it because nobody likes getting thrown into a meat grinder, for example. But yeah, men typically have probably more warmongering tendencies. But what do men fight wars for? We fight wars for resources and for women.
For women.
Yeah.
Has a war ever started because of a woman?
I'm pretty sure the Peloponnesian Wars was the Trojan Wars.
I mean, my other question is, where's the libertarians on the map? I mean, are men also libertarians?
Irrelevant per usual. Completely irrelevant.
I care about my people.
Sorry.
I mean, I guess it's not surprising, but I guess the amount of Republicans is surprising because it's overwhelming.
Right. So if only men voted, the United States would have flying cars and free energy by now. We would probably have gotten rid of the income tax. The Federal Reserve would be gone. And every liberal man would go and live in Vermont, apparently. Right. So
Wow. I mean, I'm okay with this. This would be great. But then does that mean women can't vote?
it would mean that women can't vote, right? But here's the thing. I think that I have a solution that we could implement that would actually be maybe a little bit less controversial than this.
What?
How about this? We should go back to the original intent of the Constitution. Women can vote. That'll be a change. We'll go back to the original intent of voting. But you have to be a landowner. You have to own land.
Okay.
Okay? So how's that? So if you own land, then you can vote. And then
She own land with her husband?
yes.
Like if they bought it together?
Yes.
So then she can
So
vote if her husband basically bought the land.
yes. So if your name is on a property deed, then you can vote. How's that? Does that
That's fine
sound
with
like
me.
a good idea? And there you go. So that
If
would
you have a stake in it, then you
if
should
you've
be
got
able to vote.
exactly. If you don't have a stake in it, then you can't.
Right.
How's
It's
that?
just like with stocks. If you have a stake in the stock, you can vote on what happens later.
We like to joke here on the Wake Up America show. If it's your first time tuning in, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us. I'm Austin Peterson. I'm joined now by my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson. Yay, Steffi. It's Freedom Family Friday.
So fun. It's going by really fast.
I know, for sure. We appreciate all of our 1,000 plus viewers who are joining us right now. But do us a favor and click like on the stream. We appreciate all of our viewers, and we hope that you appreciate us. And you can show that you appreciate us just by clicking like. And if it's your first time here and you're enjoying the content, make sure that you click subscribe. We appreciate very much all of the support that we've been getting from our audience today. Now's a good time, Stephanie, for us to talk a little bit briefly about our Founding Flavors coffee. Do you want to tell them a little bit about our delicious coffee brand that we have over at ap4libertyshop.com? Take it away, Steph.
Absolutely. So a couple months ago, actually, we started a Founding Fathers themed coffee brand. And so we've got something for everybody. If you like decaf, we got Betsy's Liberty Lullaby. We got dark roast, medium roast, light roast. We also have single origin, and we plan on adding more single origin items. Right now we have Colombian. And so it's all just based on the Founding Fathers. So you can pick your favorite Founding Father. We've got Franklin's Electric Elixir, Washington's Revolutionary Roast, Jeffersonian Java, Thomas's Painkiller. And so they're all super fun, and we've had coffee connoisseurs speak very highly of our coffee because it is top.
It's premium.
This is not your Folgers, okay?
Yes.
This is good stuff.
Yeah, if you're a coffee lover, this is a coffee for you. And I drink it every day now, and it's so amazing that we run out of it really fast because
I really do. I just said to him just this morning, I'm like, Franklin's electric elixir?
And I'm like, no, I've got a secret stash hidden away underneath. So we did have one more bag, but I got to order some more. So check out our delicious premium coffee brand. It's me and Steffi's brand, and it's just the two of us, a small business. And our American dream is that the Wake Up America show becomes a hugely successful show based on the back of the profits that we can build from our coffee brand and other items that we sell at apforlibertyshop.com. Like, for example, Steffi, yesterday I posted a new t-shirt, a new sweater, actually, a sweatshirt over at apforlibertyshop.com. Fans of the movie Die Hard probably will know this one. The sweater, Now I Have a Machine Gun, because we're ho, ho, ho. Yes. Die Hard, which is a Christmas movie, as you know, is a great film. And in that film, you could see this, Now I Have a Machine Gun sweater. We sold like somebody bought 3 of them yesterday. So make sure that you get yours over at apforlibertyshop.com. That's going to be a great Christmas edition. You can wear it any time of year because Die Hard, well, you can watch it any time of year. But also, since Halloween is coming up, we've got our great Government is Scary shirts. So
it's really scary. I'm surprised I'm sitting next to you right now because this is just a little too much. Ooh, too much government in one room. I
mean, imagine showing up to the party and this is it. Right. And you show up and you're just like, I'm here to help.
So cool under a black light. You know that? It would like totally glow. That would be awesome.
Get your Government is Scary shirts as well as other awesome Halloween merchandise over at apforlibertyshop.com. And you can get your John McClane, Now I Have a Machine Gun, ho, ho, ho sweatshirts over at
I've got some things coming in the mail. I've got a Don't Tread on Me V-neck coming in the mail for myself and my Wake Up America nightie.
Yes, you got the nightie, the Wake Up America racerback.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a nightie. I think your nightie is coming in today.
I can wear it this weekend.
Yeah, that's just for me though, gentlemen, so you won't get to see that one. You'll have to go and check it out at apforlibertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, apforlibertyshop.com. Thank you. Okay, so what's next on the agenda, Steffi P?
Loaning money.
Loaning money. Okay, yeah. So Kevin O'Leary, most of you know him from the show Shark Tank, did an interview recently where he said, quote, that money destroys families. Here's what he had to say about this. Yeah, he says he shares his hard and fast rule about lending cash to your loved ones. He says that the investor shared his tactic for dealing with family members who want to borrow money. In an interview that he did on his YouTube channel, he says, I say to them, I don't want to lend you any money. I'm going to give you money and I never want it returned. But our contract between each other now is you're never going to ask again.
Oh, wow. It's a one-time money lend.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a maximum amount to that. Do they just like ask for $1 million?
Well, he's rich, right? So he can afford $1 million, right?
Right.
But this was what we were talking about yesterday in lending money to your family is that like if somebody asked me in my family for money to borrow money, I would say no. And I would do what he said. I would say, I'm going to give you money and I don't expect it to be paid back because we've all like, have you ever like lent money to a roommate or done anything like that? No. Have you ever had a roommate?
Yeah, I lent money to
like a friend?
my ex-relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to answer, but I mean like
I don't think I saw several $100s of it.
okay, yeah. So that's the thing, right? So like you and I, we don't lend money to each other. We're married and like, you know, we just give each other money, right?
Right.
And so we're family. You need money, I give you money, all right? So that's how it is. I don't expect it to be paid back or anything like that, right? So when it comes to your family, or like people in your life, I've had friends that have borrowed money and then they just never paid it back.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this whole deal of like you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's like it becomes this uncomfortable situation in your family. It affects your relationship.
Yeah.
It totally affects your relationship, right? But it just the sad reality is that like you should never do business with friends typically.
No.
And you should never lend money to family members because who wants to really have that situation hanging over their head? I mean, I don't get it.
There's strings attached whenever people give money. So a lot of times when parents give kids money, there's like strings attached where they're like, well, you have to act a certain way and do these certain things in order for me to keep giving you money and not put restrictions on it. So it's just, yeah, I'm like a hoarder of my money. I do not like to give anybody my money, barely.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like being thrifty, you're conservative, you're fiscally conservative. So,
I'm more giving of my time than money. So if somebody says I need help, I say, okay, what service can I provide you?
and so he had 3 tips for financial security for himself. We love investing in gold. Kevin O'Leary, one of his tips was to invest in yourself. Right? He says never feel selfish for investing in yourself.
Oh, I do.
Right? Investing in your own future. You feel guilty investing in yourself?
Like, especially about business types of things where I'm like, should I spend money on this certain program that will help me in my career? And I'm like, no, I just want to be cheap.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and yeah, so like buying equipment or paying for software and things like that. Like there's software that I have to have and some that I like, need to have. And then there's things that I kind of want to have. Right. So like, it's investing when you're buying something for your business, for yourself, I see it as investing in myself, right? So I bought this Government is Scary tee, right? And it's a great, right, and it's an investment in myself and for an opportunity that somebody sees it and they like it and they're like, oh, that's a cool shirt, let me buy it, right? So, but you might not have taken the risk, right?
Because I would see it as selfish. Be like, well, am I really investing in myself or am I just a shopaholic?
Right. Well, but right. And here's the thing, right? So like if you don't invest in yourself, then like why should anybody else?
You gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah.
It's back to you being deserving.
Yeah. Somebody actually, speaking of investing in ourselves, somebody just bought a bag of Thomas Paine's Killer Coffee. Yeah.
Listening to our ad.
I don't know. Were they? Maybe. Right. So if we hadn't taken the risk to start up apforlibertyshop.com, and if I hadn't, bought this shirt, then maybe it wouldn't sell as well, right? So it is a risk because we have to sell 4 of these shirts or like 2 or 3 of these shirts. I can't remember what the margin is in order for us to like buy one for ourselves, right? So it's a risk. You got to sell much more than you buy in order for it to be profitable.
It's true. It's how business succeeds. I mean, you have to spend money to make money, and that's the truth about it. I always used to resist spending money on advertising for any business I had, but I realized it is a necessity.
Steffi would hate to see the monthly spend that I have for the Wake Up America show to keep this show on the air, because it's like $50 for the streaming software, $50 a month for the Adobe Express that we use every day. $30 a month for the printing company that we use for our shirts. It's so that all starts adding up, and then whenever something breaks in the studio, new wires or cords, which we always need, it starts getting in up to where I think it's like almost like $1,000 a month for the business, for all the tax preparation, everything. We just got another order at apforlibertyshop.com. As a matter of fact, get out of here. We just sold a Government is Scary tee, Stephanie.
They were watching us.
They must have been.
I think these people have their eyes on us.
They must be. They must have been.
That's a coincidence.
No, I'm pretty sure that they just. So here's the deal: is now they've got an awesome Halloween costume and they can wear it everywhere. And now here's the tip.
Just invested in yourself.
Exactly, you invested in yourself. Here's the thing. So whenever you go to the Halloween party or whatever you wear, like just show up and be like, the people are like, oh my God, what's your shirt about? And you just be like, I'm here to help.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome costume. So see, there we go. So it was worth it, right? If we sell 2 more of these shirts today, then we'll have the investment will have paid off. So investing in yourself is obviously an important thing to do. Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank is giving that advice, and we took it. So LDubs78 got it. He says, it was me, Austin. I wanted the Government is Scary tee. He just hadn't bought it yet. Good for you, LDubs. Thanks, brother.
Us today.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us. It's nice to see you out here. We've had over 1,000 people watching us steadily this morning. Right now we're at 889. It does usually trail off towards the end of the show, but we're grateful and glad to Rumble for featuring us today. Thank you so much. This whole week, it's been a record-breaking week for the Wake Up America show. Yesterday we hit almost 3,000 people live. I mean, it's changing our lives, and we're grateful for that. So thank you. And Kermode Bear says, I love how Austin's show and shop is finally taking off. He's worked so hard for this success. Thanks, Kermode Bear, for being a part of it. I looked up Kermode Bears last night. Have you heard Kermode Bears? Look at this. So Kermode Bear is a real thing. Look how beautiful they are.
So pretty.
Yeah, they're sometimes called a spirit bear.
They live.
It's a subspecies of the American black bear, and it lives found in British Columbia, Canada. Has a white or cream-colored coat. It's called a Kermode bear. So
really cool.
Yeah, they call it
Learn something new.
Yeah, they call it a spirit bear because it looks like a ghost bear. That's pretty cool. Awesome, actually. One of our listeners texted in at 573-319-1586. One listener said, "My sister asked for money whenever we were out doing stuff. I keep saying no, even if she can pay me back."
It's like plans with friends. That is a real problem.
Yeah.
Especially with women going out with guy friends.
Yeah.
They want you to pay the bill.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
What do you do?
Yep, save and invest early. Another tip from Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank. He says one way is put your money to work, right? There's another thing that you don't like is having the money sitting around and then taking a risk with it and investing it
Well, I do have investments that I just kept away from myself.
right, but you were super nervous about investing into XLE oil and Walmart and all these stocks that I was telling you about.
Just a financial planner, not
Mhm.
myself.
But pull up your TD and pull up your Schwab now and see your XLE and the money that you've made and the dividends that you've earned on those things. Because if you have cash sitting around, it's losing value.
The one thing that has not lost value is my gold, and I've got that sitting as well.
Well, and your oil and all that.
Yeah.
The last tip that Kevin O'Leary had was to ditch the emotions. Try to keep your money and emotions separate.
Oh boy.
See, that's the big thing that you're going to struggle with, right?
This is why men rule the world.
It says if emotions are involved in a money decision, be very, very careful. No decision fueled by emotion ever led to long-term value. He says even rational people can make horrible financial decisions when emotions are involved. He says this is true in a business setting, but it also makes sense, of course, when you're talking about making financial decisions for your family. So, yeah, it's it's sad but true. But it sounds easy to do, but it's a lot harder to do than you think. Yeah. So
Sure, you can have a pro and con list, and you can be like, well, if I spend this money, then my family can't go on a vacation. And then it's like quality of life, but that's emotion. Happiness is emotion. So it's it
yeah.
all gets tied into logic.
Yep, for sure. One last story before we let you go. I usually like to end the show with something fun or funny, and this one will not disappoint. An artist who turned in 2 blank canvases titled "Take the Money and Run" has now been told to repay $75,000. This is hilarious.
So they just gave blank canvases when the company paid them.
Yeah,
for
in
paintings.
in 2021, a Danish artist gave empty frames to a museum that paid 532,000 kroner for his art, which is 75,000 American dollars.
Mhm.
In a Copenhagen court ordered him to return the amount to the museum. He says that I'm shocked, but at the same time, it's exactly what I imagined. A Danish conceptual artist was paid $75,000 for his artwork in 2021, and he turned in these 2 empty frames titled "Take the Money and Run." Now, here's the thing. If he had not titled it "Take the Money and Run," he probably would be in a better position right now because people are so GD stupid.
I think it's a statement piece. I mean, I do
Yes.
see the art in it in this. To be quite
Exactly.
honest.
Right. Exactly. And that's the point is that these artists, did you see the one where the guy duct taped the banana to the wall?
I think so. Yes.
Yes.
And then someone started eating the banana, I believe.
Yeah, somebody took it down and then ate the banana. But they bought the freaking banana taped to the wall for all the money, and it's because they're laughing at us. They're laughing at us because modern art is just like woke postmodern theory, right? There's no subjective truth. We despise beauty. It's like we talked about their architecture, communist architecture, right? And it's all this bland, gray, dull, unimaginative. It's the same thing with modern art.
It's very dystopian.
Right. They're trying to mess with our heads and to tell us that something's beautiful that's not beautiful, the same way that they're trying to mess with our heads and tell us that something is art when it's not art, right? Because it's this Voltaire quote, those who can be made to believe absurdities can be made to commit atrocities. And with the international socialists and the communists and the leftists and the woke Marxists, with their agenda to try and subvert global capitalism and free trade and free markets, in their campaign, they know that if they can get us to believe absurdities, if they can destroy the fundamentals of Western civilization, truth, beauty, art, philosophy, science, facts, if they can destroy these fundamental things, just like the Merriam-Webster dictionary that we talked about earlier, just like if they can destroy our belief in what is real and true and destroy our connection to reality, Stephanie, then they can get us. If they can get us to accept absurdities, then they can get us to commit atrocities. And that is why you'll see modern art in the state that it's in right now. That is why you see leftists telling us to our face, I am a biological woman, when they are so obviously a biological male. And you don't have to accept it. And this goes back to our conversation earlier today, Stephanie, about at this point in your life, and maybe you can explain it in better detail. I think you can in your mind. You always, you would look to a study, and that would be real. Explain this to our audience. I think people would find this fascinating, because I did this morning when you were telling me this in the truck.
Just saying today, I mean, I'm 35 years old, going on 36 this year. And for all these years, as I got older and older, I was like, I feel like I'm finding myself. I feel like I'm really finding the truth. And now I feel like I'm losing sight of the truth, and I'm so confused, and I feel like I don't know anything anymore. And so it's like getting worse the more I learn about the world and the more I know the reality of things. Before, I just didn't see the reality. I would believe things at face value. I watched the Food Inc. documentary back when I was in grad school, and I became a vegetarian that same day. I didn't even do any other research, but just seeing like a dead turkey on the screen mortified me enough to make me change my life for 10 years to be a vegetarian. So I've blindly trusted people, everybody.
And like the thing is that you thought that when there was a scientific study that we trust the science. I can only believe it if there's this scientific study on it. But then we saw with COVID-19, Anthony Fauci, I am the science. It subverted your expectations of medical professionals, right? So it's kind of like, if you can't trust what a medical professional has to say, well, then how can we believe anything that comes out of academia or out of medicine, right? How can we trust it? And I say, and this would be good, a good way to end the show. I say that you're going to have to actually apply real science, meaning that you'll have to take lots of studies, and then at the end of the day, you'll have to use, at some point, Stephanie, you have to use your intuition. It's like when we were talking about the transgender thing last night, when you were saying, we were talking about, should transgenders use the bathroom that they identify with? What if they've had the surgery? Should they then go into the female? But here's the thing, you were trying to use reason and logic to say, oh, well, then if they look like a woman and they've had the surgery, then maybe they should go use the woman's bathroom.
I don't know the difference.
But then I said, Stephanie, if your daughter walked into a public restroom and you're waiting for her and you see someone who looks like a man dressed as a woman, all creepy with hair poking out of the chest and all that kind of stuff, in a wig, follow your daughter into the bathroom, would you say that's okay? Would you be okay with that?
No, I would be walking in there with my daughter, and
why?
And I'd have a firearm in my purse.
Because not everything can always be you can reason yourself into a sanity. You can logic yourself into an illogical position if your fundamental premise is flawed. And that's why I say that there are times when you have to trust your gut.
And I feel like I am trusting my gut. The scary part is just voicing that when everybody else seems to be against you.
That is frightening, isn't it?
That is just terrifying.
Everybody's wearing a mask. I guess we need to all wear masks, I guess. I feel the pressure, right? The social pressure.
Being different. I mean, sure, we embrace being different, but are we really embracing being different? I feel like I'm different and I'm not accepted. Yeah. That's
the thing. And the freedom is letting go of acceptance. Right? Freedom is letting go of acceptance, accepting who you are as you are, and being free of caring what other people's opinions are of you. Although we do hope that the 827 people watching us live right now like us.
You like me.
Yes, we do hope that you like us, and if you do, and you haven't liked or subscribed to the channel that you're watching us on live right now, why don't you go ahead and just give us a like and a subscribe? It's free, and we'd love to have your support. If you haven't visited apforlibertyshop.com, now's the good time to do it. We hope you enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Every Monday through Friday, the Wake Up America show streams live 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time, so we'd love to see you back here on Monday. Steffi, any last words or anything you want to say?
As always, be free.
Thank you very much for watching the Wake Up America show. We love you very much. It's been an exciting week, the most exciting week that the Wake Up America show has ever seen. We've been breaking records all week thanks to all of our support from our friends Kermode Bear, Will Warren Riot, Studio 314, L-Dubs, Drummer Goy, Tolly, Blue Trike, Rare Camellia, and all of our friends over at the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Halloween is coming. The festival of Samhain approaches, and your lazy butt doesn't have a Halloween costume yet? How can you pledge allegiance to the Dark Lord this year and possibly offend everyone at the same time? Visit the AP for Liberty shop and get your shirt today. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. So grab your government is scary tee and tell everyone at the party that you're here to help. Other great seasonal items are available as well, so don't miss out. Then visit AP for Liberty shop today. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every $1 we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.